Hi, everybody.
Hi. Welcome to What We Thought Would Happen. Our guest today has reached the stars as an astronomer, as a person, as a comic, as a brilliant writer, and we were both in a musical review together called Dogs, 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 and she brought the star, Major Houlihan, is with us.
I did. Her writer was pretty extensive. Thank you for providing the bone broth.
Sure.
And the name brand kibble, not to be named because they don't sponsor her, but
Right.
Just a preference.
They will after this, I'm hoping.
yeah, I am, but Major's handler.
Yes.
I, Caitlin Gill, have brought the true guest, Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, with me today.
Major.
Jeez, Caitlin, I didn't even say your name. I was so transfixed by the dog. With us.
I stepped on your intro.
No, is the incomparable Caitlin Gill.
Yay.
And a frontierswoman. Caitlin is out. Caitlin and Kelly are out near Joshua Tree.
Yep.
Building a home. Building their own home.
Homesteading.
Yeah, me and the sweet lady are on 5 acres of desert goodness.
Yeah.
There is a home on it that needed a lot of TLC.
Sure.
So I have been working on that.
That's
getting
great.
those calluses, getting my Carhartt dirty.
Yeah.
I still go for the what poor people think is rich name brands, but I do actually work in them. So.
Wow.
But that's rewarding, building your own home.
She's
Yes.
breaking rocks out there.
Yeah.
I am. So the place we got, if you're thinking of moving to Los Angeles, let me tell you that my mortgage on 5 acres is less than my rent on a studio in Los Angeles. But
and that area out there is beautiful.
super gorgeous.
But
yes.
do you have to immediately...
I should say I don't live in 29 Palms. I live in 29 Palms,
Yes.
which is outside of Joshua Tree, and that is an asterisk.
Yes.
It's one does not simply like live in Banning and say they live in Los Angeles, but
Right.
it is nonetheless in the Joshua Tree area and phenomenally beautiful. I'm just a couple miles from a park entrance. So.
Wow.
I remember saying I was from New York, and people thought, oh, we think New York City. And it's like, no, it might as well be the South. I'm
Right.
from near Buffalo, New York. So it's like...
I found that...
I feel like Astoria doesn't count. And I don't live in New York, never have. So
Yeah.
it's difficult to...
Exactly.
When speaking to people of an international ilk, I found that saying Texas instead of the U.S. had a lot broader
Yes.
appeal.
Yeah. California also works that way.
Yeah,
That is its own country
it's
anywhere
a planet.
else. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, are you serious about the astronomer thing? Are you an
Yeah,
astronomer?
yeah.
Really?
Yes. So I know you from years performing stand-up comedy, which I still love and occasionally dust off. But these days, I spend more nights under literal stars in Joshua Tree, in the actual park. I do astronomy tours.
Do you really?
Yes. So when I'm feeling fancy, I work in science communication, and when I'm feeling honest, I'm a tour guide.
Amazing. Both amazing either way.
I have applied
I like both.
to the observatory.
Oh, so cool.
In any shape or form.
Yeah.
And they see right through my bullshit. I just want...
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was something you could do. I just figure like scientists are just plopped there.
No,
Or
they
science
want-
teachers are just showing people
I think
around.
they want someone with some credentials and not just someone who can do a tight 30.
I don't know. It turns out that science communication is a whole job.
yes.
I can't do the science part. Don't scratch
No.
the surface here. I cannot do the math.
Uh-huh.
I will never be building equipment. I will never discover anything about a star. But when somebody does, I
Yeah.
can tell people about it. So,
That's fantastic.
if you, 2020 happened, everything changed. We just kind of let it. I started looking for actual jobs. Do you remember that you have to you go
Yeah,
and
you
you
have to
work
have
at
a
the same
job.
place
You have
over
to
and
have a
over
job.
with
Oh,
like
I
the
did
same
that.
people?
I did that recently and hated it.
Yeah, it's notoriously awful. Plus, you just don't assume that 12 years in stand-up translates on a resume.
Really?
I kind of thought I was just going to be explaining a 12-year gap in employment. But credit to the folks I'm working with out there. They were looking for somebody with a background like mine, which felt incredibly lucky because they've worked with scientists and they are not as excited to make hot cocoa night after night and talk about the phases of the moon.
Yeah.
Like, you got to meet people where they are. On the last tour I did last week.
And you're a people person. You have to be.
I love
you
that part.
You like to be,
Yes.
and Caitlin also is one of the few people who is always an amazing host, which I think is the hardest f***ing job.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But anyway, I didn't
It was Aaron Foley. I had a terrific conversation. We were just
I love
yelling in
Aaron.
a green room about how hosts are terribly mistreated. It should never be the the greenest comic. It should always be like
Oh, yeah.
the people working
Yes.
at features, flip it, have them open the show, get it really hot for a new local comic to come do a few minutes, and then give it back to the feature level talent to then bring on the headliner. We're just screaming in agreement.
Yes.
So loud. The louder and louder, the more we agree.
Well, Aaron is a sports fan.
Aaron is a
Oh,
sports
I love
So
Aaron.
it's
Yes.
just- yeah.
So lineups are a big deal.
She's the best. We were at her birthday party. We went to her
The
birthday
greatest.
thing at the. Didn't she have like a birthday show? It was a birthday
Oh,
show,
yeah.
kind of. Or there was a little celebration
At the
afterward.
at that tiny little bar.
Yeah.
Something. Anyway, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Are you okay? So wait, do you like planetary astronomy? Are you stellar?
So we Joshua Tree National Park is designated dark sky, so it's super dark. There's just no city lights for lots of miles. So
There's a
you
dark
get-
sky movement.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
It's good for our mental health. It's good for our physical health. It's good for the physical health and well-being of animals.
Yeah.
Like, really good for them. Moths have a reputation for being kind of dumb because they spin around light. But no, friends, moths keep the moon on their left. So there's just thousands of moons around them to get confused by.
Oh my God! So they're just spinning.
Yeah, they're just spinning. They're not, designed to have sources of artificial light all around.
Can I tell a quick moth
please.
story? We're in Victoria, Texas, which is whatever. And so
Moth country.
It's moth country, and it was nighttime, and like a yellow like a floodlight, like one of those. It was the side of my friend's elementary school, and yeah,
Everywhere.
and so there's the shadow cast by the light, and there's a moth. And it's just sitting there, right? And so we are like creeping up to it, and we're looking like right here at this moth, and then we realize in the like umbrella of the shadow is an even bigger moth.
Wow.
It was like the size of a football. It was so
Moth
big, and it scared the shit out of us.
Well, yeah,
It was Mothra.
It was we scared. I said hello. Wait, that moon fact is
Yes. So the night sky is just good for us. It's so easy to disconnect from. It's so easy to be surprised by like the moon up in the afternoon and just be totally removed from that cycle that's very consistent. It is
Yeah.
very easy to just ignore the sky, especially if you can't see it. But the dark sky is worth preserving.
Yeah, because that's why people can't sleep.
Yeah, that's a huge yes. That it's just disconnects us from our place in the universe a little bit. Most humans who've been humans, this is what I find and I'm surprised by, and I think it's kind of a neat conundrum. Most people live in places so bright, they've only seen the Milky Way in astrophotography.
yeah.
So they've seen the Milky Way, but it's like purple and blue and
Yeah.
torn open and it looks incredible. But that's
Yeah.
not what the Milky Way looks like. To your eyes, it looks milky. Its name
it's
is
like a smear.
yeah, it's like
Wow.
because what you're seeing is a band of stars close together but far from us. So about 33,000 light years out, roughly. Fact check, yell at me on the internet. There are stars close to one another, too far away for us to resolve. There are so many of them; their light just glows in the sky. So your eyes could easily tell you that's fog or cloud, but when you know that it is starlight.
Yes.
In myth, that's Hera's milk. That's Queen of the Gods milk. That is the lactation
Yes.
of the top doggess. So
See, this was why I took stellar astronomy
the
and
coolest
not
stuff.
for the fucking physics calculus of it all. I
Yeah.
was like, wait. Just blow my mind with facts. That's all I want.
the facts are and knowing how to communicate the facts is apparently a whole job. So
Have you heard about the recent moon missions that have
Yeah,
both
Artemis,
sort
yeah.
of been thwarted?
that happened. I mean, I feel like those are really easy headlines. Big budget projects like that are difficult and bound to not go right, but that isn't good press. So
Right.
but yeah, I still have faith. We'll
Oh, I have total
wait,
faith.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask.
Please.
Caitlin, the last time we spoke, you said you were doing your job as I'm good. Can I say astrophysicist?
Yeah. Yeah. Doctor
Yes.
of astrophysics.
Yeah.
Sure. And there was a little kid who kept asking you the same question or whatever.
There's
Do you remember
kids.
that about what you said?
Oh,
Or
what?
you were or just that it was actually fun, or I don't know.
Yeah, he asked question after question about like the Earth's size and where we are and like so we're rotating around the sun. He asked all these questions about elements and with like a 9 to 10-year-old brain. So he was kind of soaking up some answers, but he got pretty deep and to a place where it was very natural for him to just look up at me and go, "So why are we here?"
Oh no.
It's like, oh, my sweet friend.
And his parents are there.
Exactly. So I'm just looking at them like, let's see, I don't see a visible cross.
Yeah,
Nobody's
how do
wearing
we-
any. I don't know. I have an answer. I don't know. I'm going to give it to your child.
It's like suddenly it's like, are you a creationist?
Yes.
Is this
exactly.
CRT?
This could go so
Yeah, are
many
you-
ways.
Right. What
but-
was your answer?
We are as inevitable as we are unlikely.
Oh, I love it.
Ooh, beautiful.
Right.
Right, Mage?
Hi, Major.
We have been here since the Big Bang banged. It just took a really long time for all the steps to happen.
Yeah.
The universe is really big, but that is the size of the factory it takes to make our ingredients. So our size isn't in opposition
Yeah.
to the size of the universe. Our size is just right. Chef's kiss. That's
Yeah.
just what we're supposed to be.
I
So-
wish you were my mom.
I know. I'm learning so
God, I'm
much.
not
I know.
anybody's mom.
It's not too late for us to.
Will you adopt
Kids wouldn't
me?
be saying
Yeah.
that shit.
You're
I
so smart.
promise.
Will you adopt me?
Or at least,
Caitlin Gill.
at least will you homeschool us? Like,
Yes.
this is great. You know what I mean?
You're brilliant.
Pull the drapes and get some severe lighting on us. Like,
Such
I'm
a-
absorbing
I
this.
wish all kids could hear that and know that there isn't anything to be frightened of or to act a certain way because of God. Or
Don't
you're
get
being
overwhelmed.
punished. Or
Yeah.
We're
things like
only
that, or-
important
yeah.
because we're unimportant. It all comes back to big and small at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Kids are great guests.
Yeah. You think?
Yes, the opposite of the comedy environment. Kids are wonderful guests on a tour because adults are cool. They are trying to be too cool so they don't get excited because excited and sincerity is not cool.
Well, also
So
because they're probably stupid.
that too, and they feel like they're stupid.
Yeah.
I've worked in retail environments like this before. If you're doing anything high end where people don't understand what you're talking about, but they did pay for it, they are in a weird headspace. So you've got to you've got to massage that very gently.
That's so funny. I feel that way about speaking of massages. If you paid for something, you'll go along. Like I had a
Yes.
massage and afterward I had a bruise on my neck, and it's $300.
Hurts.
So
Yes.
she could have just beaten me to death.
Yeah.
Without me saying anything, my neck hurt, and I was like,
For
God,
$300, you want to be
It was-
hospitalized.
No, but I was like,
I should be broken by this.
Was that a massage or the most embarrassing fight I've ever been to?
See, I want to be hurt in a massage. I do. There's a place I go to in Studio City, and the youngest person they have to walk on your back is 900 years old, and I want her mother, and she beats the out of my neck, and I love it. Yeah, walks on you. What's that? Ashiatsu.
Smart.
I love it. Yeah, you never
Right.
think a heel would be so.
Are they looking for anyone?
Hiring? Yeah.
Size 12,
Well,
230, 6'1"?
Yeah.
Looking for, are they in the market?
I like it rough. I really do, and it's like every time I ask for
I
a
could make
man.
it fucking mint.
I'm telling you, but it's like it makes me look too.
We could be dominatrixes.
Hop
and
up on the table. Let's get this on tape.
I have a friend who's a dom. And it's mostly older, like white guys who want to get like their balls smashed
I'm
in
shocked.
with their
No
briefcase.
way.
I know,
That's the
right?
target.
Yeah, that's
Really?
the demo.
Really?
Yeah.
Older white guys, geez.
Yeah, all these people with, like-
devolution of it all.
With MAGA guilt, have to go have a woman beat the shit out of them.
Jeez,
Sounds about
which
right.
reminds me also, Daniel, Caitlin and I were on stage in 2016 at the Improv Lab
Yes.
when all hell broke loose.
Yes.
So, question real fast: was it just the sheer confidence we all had that you thought, I know, I'll do a show that night? Like,
Yeah.
really?
Oh,
I was terrified.
My genuine surprise at the result feels. I'm still surprised.
Me too. I think I blocked it out of my mind.
Yeah.
It's why I'm scared this time because
No,
I
I'm
feel
kidding.
like no way, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, that feeling you've been so wrong.
Yeah,
you were so
no.
desperately wrong before.
100%.
Yeah, I was surprised.
And we're backed into a corner because of Biden. It's
Also, my
Yeah.
show was just on Tuesdays.
Well, yeah,
it happened to be a Tuesday.
it really wasn't that.
I love that show. Crab apples.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crab Apples, Kayla Gill, Bobcat Goldthwait. Thank you, Hollywood Improv.
It was a great show.
It was. It was so much fun to do.
That's where I met you,
Yes.
and also Bobcat. But Deborah DiGiovanni.
Oh my god,
That was the first time
There's
I was.
nobody fucking funny.
I met
She's
her at Moon
amazing.
Tower, but that was the first
Jesus.
time I was like on a show with Deb, and
She
was
just
like,
like the way she crushes
Yeah.
is crazy. It's one of those
Annihilator.
comics where like you know how sometimes the audience laughs in the back of the room titters or the
Yeah.
back of the room explodes and the audience is like I guess this is good.
Yeah,
Deb
yeah.
just like back to front, audience to comic,
it's unreal.
just
She's just
decimates.
great. But
You'll watch the outside of a comedy club clear. Like
Yeah.
everybody will be out, like just goofing around. Sorry, I hit your camera. And like you'll hear Deb get announced or hear her voice, and you'll just watch the whole creep back in. She's so good.
She's canceled on us. She didn't want to do the show.
But she deserves it.
Yeah.
Let Diva's diva.
She had to cancel
I know.
on us because the audience was still laughing.
Yeah, I know.
She had to
They were still applauding. They wouldn't let her off stage. They wouldn't let her off stage.
No, I know.
But that was a brilliant show.
She's
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun.
I always want to talk about like the planets and the stars, but you can't help it when you're out in rural.
Yeah.
And you can see all that
Yeah.
shit. Like you can literally see.
It's in my yard.
Caitlin,
Step outside and see
how
Milky
about
Way.
building a club in your yard?
We'll
come out.
I don't know what I want to do yet. I miss stand up all the time. I haven't even touched it yet. I don't even know how to
Yeah, you do. I mean, I know what you mean.
We're gonna
I just
start
haven't
doing
processed. Could you stop? You know what I mean?
Whoa,
What would happen if you stopped? What would happen if the last time you did stand up regularly was like 3 fucking years ago?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I perform 10 hours a week, 2 hours at a block in front of tiny audiences that are riveted. I get to do 2 hours at a time playing with telescopes, goofing off, being funny and stuff, and I'm still thirsty for like 3 unpaid minutes I wait hours for at a garbage comedy club. Like, I
really?
miss,
Can you try out your stuff in front of the people a little bit?
I don't tend to cross over in that direction. I would probably go the other way and do some silly, spacey comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I miss comedy all the time.
I think so. I had a breakthrough.
It's not what you were asking, but I miss comedy all the time.
Oh, okay. No, I'm saying let's start a club in your backyard.
RuPaul had a realization about being late all the time and how they were addicted to the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And to me, I really recognize myself in that. But I also, there's weird adrenaline stuff involved in like performance and stand-up
Oh my God.
specifically.
Oh, yeah.
And I find myself, because I sweat and
Yeah.
I'm like nervous and I don't want to talk and I'm cold, I'm not hungry. I'm like, why am I addicted to that? But I am.
So hooked.
More, also the performance.
I remember feeling so even. Before a show, I would just be like quiet, focused, kind of calm, like definitely in reserve. And then as soon as I get off stage, I'm just sparkles.
Yeah.
All the nerves came after. So I'd just be like, just insufferable, bubbly and nuts for a couple, analyzing everything, going over the. So
Yeah.
I had this reverse, like I would be so kind of hungry for what I knew was coming after that I'm just like, murder eyes on the post-set feeling.
Yeah. But I do think that's part of the like craving of even when you like bomb, you still want to do it again.
Yeah.
That's what feeds that. Is
The only sets that make me that I didn't like were good. I want to kill or die. Like, let's kill or die here.
I know what you mean.
I want to put it all out. I don't want a set where I don't know why I didn't kill it.
Yeah.
Like, that was fine.
Was it good?
You
It was
shouldn't
good
respond.
enough.
You should like or not like
Yeah.
this. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm serving pistachio and I know it. Like, I'm for you or I'm not. If everybody's like, that was fine. I did something weird.
But when you
No, I was just gonna say that like when people say they're only comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
I realize like I'm not comfortable anywhere. And I might as well be on stage.
yeah, I had to do a special in front of cars. It was during COVID,
Right.
and and it was like, which was a gamble.
Yes.
And to do an hour in that space,
yeah.
I had to be like, okay, just pretend like you're totally alone, and that they're never gonna laugh. Right? There's gonna be zero laughter for 60 minutes, which is basically what it was. But it really was, and I was like. The breakthrough was I was like, oh, but that's how I feel all the time.
Yeah.
Even when you're killing, it's like, well, I am just kind of here alone.
You're
It's
still
like-
with me. Yeah, yourself. No matter where you go, you're still with yourself.
But it was one of those things I was like, yeah, you always are. Like Maria Bamford doing it, her special at home in a living room.
Oh my God.
I was like,
the
that.
special
hilarious.
is
I
like
just
nothing
love
else.
her.
So
But
special.
when you were in the were you in a parking lot? Was it the thing? Was
It's
it
the ro- it's-
behind the Magic Club?
The poster says the Rose Bowl, but technically it is the parking lot of the Rose Bowl.
Oh shit! Okay.
So the sign is in the background, so
That's
you can see
really
it.
great.
But
Off
yeah,
Broadway.
It was. But my favorite was they had mic'd the cars, so you could hear the laughter.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But you could also hear the chips crinkling.
Yeah.
And the like
Seatbelts
and the is there a bathroom? And like you could hear all that and the monitors as well.
I didn't understand that. Tammy Jo, who's a great comic, and also she's helping us produce this. I didn't understand. She was trying to say, because we did the parking lot behind the Comedy Magic Club. Is it like a drive-in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
That's what I wasn't sure. I thought, is that stupid to
In
ask? 'Cause I was like,
COVID, especially that show, that was like the only show.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
And somehow worked. I think especially if you're like not a performer and you're trying to get the fuck out of the house in a global pandemic.
Yeah.
I think from that lens, it sort of did the trick.
Yeah.
But I was never a fan of like sonic car hops.
Right.
Unless you're on roller skates. Like,
Oh,
I'll show up and watch you,
yeah.
but your bitch better be on wheels.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, we should have done it on wheels.
The
That
whole
would have been
thing. And guess what
Yeah.
I'm great on? Fucking skates.
I believe that.
You know what
if it was a yes or no, is Daniel Webb good at skating?
Skates.
I'd be like, yes.
It's just these legs, the length
It helps.
of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's truly it.
I love to
Ironically, we
roller
stand at the
skate.
same height, and it's pretty clear I am not good at
Can
skating.
I tell you how enamored I am with your height? Because I just
know, I
never,
love it.
I rarely get to make like eye
It's
contact
nice.
with a person.
I stand up straight sometimes, and I realize my posture's bad, but I've had to adapt. The world is built 3 or 4 inches too low for me,
Correct.
so I've started touching things with my fingertips, not my hands.
Ah.
I used to reach for objects on a counter, and it's like I want my whole hand on it, but that's hunched. So now
Yeah,
I just
you
sort
have
of
to back
navigate
it
with my
up.
fingertips
Yeah.
around the
That's
world.
amazing. I realized my mom didn't realize like how tall I was getting. And she used to say, because every time we went to a restaurant, I'd knock over something. I'd knock over the water. I'd knock over something. She goes, I'm not taking you out again until you're 21. But it was
It's going to improve then.
Yeah.
Nothing's
I'm
going to
gonna
fall or
be
get
even
knocked over
longer
again.
and
like
more
a full grown,
fucking-
like a boxer. We're like,
yeah, but that's true. It's like your depth of perception has to change, and it isn't built for us. And
No.
it should be by now. There should be. Well, I've said this I've made this so boring now. I want just sleeves that fit.
Oh my God. Sleeves, pant legs.
Yeah.
Both.
Both.
there's an Oprah trick for standing up, and I constantly have to. I'm a piano player, so it makes me. I feel like I have to, but it works better standing up. But essentially, it's you just sit with your arms at your side, and you point your thumbs forward, and then you take your arms and you roll them out.
Oh, yeah.
And you drop them, and that's where you're supposed to
To
be,
be,
which
yeah.
is kind of a horny way to stand.
Really?
Yeah, and it's tits out, the whole thing. But that you
No,
can
that's
feel
posture.
it.
Lead with your heart.
When it's all that
Yeah.
like pussy first, but it feels right.
Pussy
when
first
you do
is
it.
better.
Lead
Lead with your heart's a little soft. I might go pussy first.
Was that your slogan when you were running for senator of
Pussy first?
Yeah.
No, but I did just walk on stage in the past and just go, God, was it pussy or vagina? I just used to yell one of the two.
Both great words.
Yeah, I think I just, God, I can't remember my own old opener. For a long time,
I can't remember
It was
anything
very
as I'm saying it.
specific. In San Francisco forever, there was it was just the right time in the 2000s for us to be like, we do shows with women.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? This show's got gals. Ladies with smiles for miles. So
I
just would always get introduced as like, are you ready? Are you
Yeah.
ready?
For
This
a
one's
female?
girls.
God.
So I
Oh
just used
my
to go
God.
up and
Yeah.
pussy, just yell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't make as much money as when I worked clean, but it was really satisfying.
Wait, was there a time when you would work like
My album that still helps keep life easier is All Clean.
wow.
Thank you, Laughs USA, for continuing to support my work with the album Major.
We're gonna say it again and put a link to it.
Named after my sweet dog, Major.
Major.
She's on the cover.
Honestly, no
Darling
matter
angel.
where
I'm
your
so-
volume is, Major is just
Yep. She's
I'm-
like she's any stranger to me yelling.
yeah.
She said, "Okay, mother. Now, if you must take the stage."
What
I got a
precious
little, especially after touring. I toured with Bobcat, thank you, Bob, and just realized when it's, okay, so it's a little easier, like, yelling about knobbing or throwing in a bunch of dirty words does make things a little bit easier. So I like the challenge. But if I'm going to be a lesbian in St. Louis, like, why don't I just wanted to try to make things easier. I could be more honest if I was not pushing buttons that didn't need to be pushed.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to be a little bit more
Yeah.
personable, but still maybe push an audience in that whole I'm gay and you're going to like me anyway thing.
Yeah.
Which is no big deal here, and then you leave. And it's a big deal everywhere
Please
else.
talk about that because I feel like it's like everyone.
It got so much worse.
And you don't, especially if you're not a known name. The first 10 minutes are
Yes.
For
What are you?
anyone trying to explain yourself. But then it's like, oh my God, please don't think you're hellbound.
Yeah.
Just because I'm in the room.
Yes. Oh my God.
And trying to get people over that.
So aside from opening with pussy and then just yelling and I can't really sell it anymore, I used to just say like, you know I'm gay because you can see me. Yeah. And that was the easiest way to just get this at, like, let's just get this done. Because if I don't, you're going to spend the first 10 minutes doing the math
trying
yourself.
To figure it out.
Waiting for me to mention some partner in one way or it's just like.
For for years, my whole opener was like, I'm from Texas, I'm in the closet, which every gay man does.
Sure.
Every gay man either does that or says, I crush pussy. Like, they do one or the other. But it did.
Will you say that again?
No, because it's someone else's line. But it's like, it worked.
Yes.
It totally did the trick.
I crush pussy.
Yeah, but then at least people are like, oh, they have a sense of humor about themselves. Yeah. Or at least lets them know that you're going to hell.
I remember I was laughing about these. I told these guys, I was writing on the show, and I told these guys that I had a date with this guy. And then the next day they go, so did you turn his dick to dust? And that made me laugh so hard just because I never heard that. Did I turn his dick to dust? Wait a minute, I have osteoporosis. Anything's going to be dust. He's going to be poking into dust.
That's amazing. Does that mean you made him gay, or that you're just like such a good?
I guess like grinding. I don't know until I turned somebody's dick to dust.
It could have been a compliment.
Yeah, I think it was.
It is a compliment.
Yeah, really.
Let's see. If you turned his dick to ash, you'd have that fire pussy or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's the problem with working with men. You have to understand their language.
Yeah.
You don't.
My cousin.
You don't. You can just ignore it for as long as you can.
I think when I was like a teenager, and still there would be it was like environmental, right? You're like a chameleon. If someone's super butch, man, are you trying to do that too? Which is humiliating.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'll never forget. I'd gone to college, and my cousin asked me.
Why did that get an air quote?
Because I was doing ecstasy.
College with a K? Like when I know how to spell it?
I was taking stellar astronomy, among other flights of fancy. But I came home, and my cousin, I forgot, he's so broy. He was like, well, you got a skirt? And I literally thought he meant like...
Did you buy yourself a fancy
Yes,
skirt?
I was like, as a matter of fact, I do.
And it looks great.
And
it's so pleased.
But I didn't know what he meant. I was like, what? Like trying to be a bro. It was like a girl. Some strange, which I was like, who uses strange? Which is one of my favorite
strange
words.
is great.
I love it.
It's a great word, but it's like using Kleenex or Sanka. It really
friend of
dates you.
My friend in New York, we used to go to this.
Wait, is Kleenex out?
It's just in general, but it ages you. Yeah,
yes.
Kleenex. Yeah,
I've
don't
seen
worry.
42 Winters. You have to tell me these things.
Same. Don't worry. I'm right there with you.
My friend and I used to go to this deli, and the guy didn't speak English that well, and we hadn't been there in like a couple of weeks. We were there every week. And instead of saying, hey, strangers, he'd say, hey, strange to us. And I said, we have to write something called Hey, Strange.
Hey, Strange. So
our novel, Hey, Strange.
Just know it works for the gays both ways. If girls are like girling, if girls are like, oh my God, I was looking up my ring and I did my registry and I'll be like, yeah, I know what a square cut time. I know what that. Yeah, I know how to cut that. Mm-hmm.
Well, see,
girl, right? Destination wedding. That's primo. Mm-hmm.
I have an older sister, so I know what like a princess cut is.
I want a destination death.
Dude, you know what?
I know what a crotch gusset is and how it improves by step. It's incredible.
A crotch gusset?
Oh, a gusset. I don't buy a garment unless it's got gussets. Are you kidding?
I don't know what
the fuck is it?
What does it do?
I can demonstrate a gusset. Do you see how the seams on the armpit of the shirt are engineered for movement? Yeah, so it's not just a single seam. There's some built-in space and maneuverability. You want that in your crotch.
Yes.
You got to look for a crotch gusset.
Because if you're going to do floor drops, if you're going to pop your ass at all,
if you're going to install flooring, if you're going to pop in some baseboards.
I love this. This is getting both sides.
Yeah. Honestly, the same pants work for both because I can slide knee pads into my work pants, and you need that. You need that. So we should exchange some shopping lists.
I'm into this.
Different purposes, but same seas.
Can you do?
I'm really in an overalls era, so if you need any recommendations, there, let me know.
I love wearing I like wearing the they're called 5 Rock. It's one piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a coverall that I just bought.
Coverall, that's
now I have like 3 of the same ones, and that's just what I look like.
I tell you,
I love those.
I had 2 grandfathers, and they are both dead.
That is normal.
And one of them, each one died.
That's the right amount.
And I got, and I always wanted more because they had good stuff.
Braggart.
But each one died, and I got a fucking Dickies work suit out of both of them.
Oh,
And
I like
so
those
good.
too.
One is gray, and one is navy.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
That's the whole lineup.
if I've had a day where I'm haven't been productive, I just put one of those on to
You feel
look
like you've been
productive. Yeah,
productive.
exactly. Answer the door.
I don't miss. I don't know. This is like me doing therapy about missing stand-up as much as it is a
Sure.
podcast. So redirect me anywhere you want me to
No,
go. But
where you want
I don't miss dressing for anybody else.
Yeah.
I was terrible at it. I still like so many looks, so many like weird ideas of what I should be wearing. There was like a dress phase, there was a tights phase, there was a
geez.
boots phase, there was like different. I landed on makeup pretty early with like black eyeliner, bold lip. That's like all I need. I tried so many things to look like a girl, but look like the right kind of girl, but not like that and not like that either. And like in the last few years, especially since I'm literally working with my hands and myself.
Yeah.
Like I have never been, my fashion is on.
Yes.
I am like living in my overalls. Like my bandana is tactical.
Yeah.
Like I have, I have always enjoyed fashion with like utility in mind. I want it to look good and like be built to be worn.
Yes.
And so there's this whole world of clothing where I'm like, if it doesn't have a cargo pocket on it, I don't need it. Like I am not on stage right now.
What is it in the Western wear? There's the thing that so the water washes off your shoulder.
Oh yeah, that little
like those
it's like on a duster, but I can't remember the word for that little flap.
But sometimes
on a
a
shirt.
work shirt has just that.
It's so
and
good.
I'm like, ugh.
If I could find a toddler Carhartt, can I send it for Major?
Oh yeah, she doesn't wear it, but
she
I will.
tried?
Man, this dog. I finally put a sweater on her. It's really cold in the high desert. And I put her out of the car. I put the sweater on in the car. I took the dog out of the car and I put the dog on the ground. And the dog would not move. She would not pick up one leg. She was just staring at me like, get this the fuck off of me. I tried. When she was younger, she'd give into it for a short time. But 7-year-old
God.
Major has no patience for that
Yeah,
bullshit.
she
She
does
looks
me.
great in that red red and black
Yeah.
check. She looks so good, but she
Yeah.
wasn't having it.
She'll never know it. But it is a slippery slope when your dog does live a costume.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
Then you're spending money.
I can see myself dropping more cash on it. I'd buy the dog Patagonia and Carhartt before myself for sure.
My dog loved it. It would change the way he walked, and it was just like. And then the stupid thing would fall asleep in a costume,
my
which is really cute. I was like, you're a bumblebee, and you don't even know it.
And you're just a snoozy little bumblebee.
You bumblebee.
So cute.
Best.
The high desert, that makes me think of Coast to Coast. Did you ever listen to Coast to Coast?
Oh, yeah.
Because it would Art Bell or George
Yeah.
would be like from the high desert.
Because they are in the high desert.
out
It's
there.
weird. So that's super UFO territory. There's a couple other companies that do
Yes.
star tours in Joshua Tree, and we're not the ones that do the UFO tour.
I
So
wanna talk
if
about
you want to come see my tour, look for the one that's not about UFOs.
Yeah.
We can talk about UFOs if you want.
Do
but,
you delve into it?
I mean,
Do
I kind of
you-
love it. Yeah, sure. If the question is, is there life out there? Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
astronomers talk about it now with some level of certainty that we'll have some answers to that question.
Matthew
within their career.
McConaughey was wrong in Contact, and Jodie Foster was
So
right.
I feel like there's no intelligent life here.
Fair.
Yeah, that's why
Fair.
they're not stopping
Because we're
by
in Hollywood,
Laura.
yeah.
So
I
that's
mean-
the star Vega in the book Contact. It's like just out of the sky at tour time now, where Vega's one of the summer stars. So in summertime, at the sunset, when you look east, Vega's one of the 3 big bright stars you see. So
Vega?
Vega,
Vega.
VEGA.
Okay.
So this time of year, it's like when the sun sets, Vega is way over on the western horizon. You can barely see it, but Vega is where aliens were contacting us from in
Yes,
Contact.
yes.
So it comes up a lot. When Carl Sagan wrote Contact, the premise was like, it's absurd that Dr. Sattler is so brilliant and yet spends her time looking for extraterrestrial life. That's
Right.
just
What
so
a
silly.
waste
What a waste.
of a science mind.
And now there's nothing we do in space that doesn't have that search in mind. Nothing.
Right.
Like everything we're doing is wrapped up in that.
Wow.
In sort of waiting for that discovery, because 2 is just so much more than 1 in science.
Yeah.
So if we can find any other example anywhere in samples on Mars of life beginning billions of years ago but not continuing, like it changes the whole picture.
But if let's say there definitely is life on other planets, I think they wouldn't want us to know about it because look what we've done to this one.
Yeah, that is
how we've shit this
Yeah, they
planet
know
up.
that. I think that's why they're like keeping
Yeah.
it back.
If you make a map of where people in the United States see UFOs and you lay it over a map of U.S. military bases, you are looking at the same map.
Wow.
And that could be because U.S. military, and I live in 29 Palms, largest Marine base there.
Yeah.
Military craft don't fly like airplane you're used to. So
Yeah.
is it that you're just seeing military crafts and you're thinking it's UFOs? Likely. Is it that aliens are peeking at our military technology and being like, "F- no, these apes are crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take that off the table. I will not.
Yes. My mom saw a UFO, and she's just not a believer. You know what I mean? I mean, she now believes, but it was like she's not the kind of person who was just walking around like assuming there's life out there until she saw one on her way to work.
Wow.
Literally in broad daylight, and was like, "Is that you?" I mean, she doesn't sound like that, but like she full on had like, "Gaw."
What did she say it looked like?
She said it was just this like gray cylindrical thing, and there were cloud. She was like, "That is a cloud. That is not a cloud." And then she said it just went,
wow,
and was gone.
Okay,
and then
cool.
she turned left and went to work.
Yeah. I just feel like that's life, right? That's exactly as, so just like we are inevitable and unlikely, that's interesting and deeply insignificant. Like we are just here. The idea that there's something else out there only is radical to us. It's not a big deal. Like life is just a chemical reaction. It's what
Yeah.
happens when water gets soupy. Like it's just not that unlikely.
Right.
To us, it's a big deal. But
Right.
the fact that there would be a gray cylindrical ship that can just disappear into the clouds is like, cool, yeah,
Yeah,
sure. I
old
got to get to
news.
work, though.
Have you seen the man who discovered? Oh, he's dead. But the man who discovered Pluto,
Oh, yeah.
which I believe was an
Not
accident.
God, Turnbow. It's like Clyde Turnbow,
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah.
and he's southern.
Iowa.
Is it that?
Yeah, you can correct me on the internet. He
No,
might
no.
be like an Indiana guy. Somebody's going to be like, he's from my town!
But no,
And
but
I'm not going to take him away, but...
I saw a photo. He's just an old man with a bolo tie.
He was fully a farm dude, but
Yeah.
there's math that said that Pluto should be there.
Oh, 100%.
So Pluto was
wait.
discovered. Neptune, I might, again, yell at me on the internet. Neptune and Pluto are both, the movement of the other planets says that there's something else pulling on them just past that. So they were discovered on paper before we saw them in the sky. Pluto's just tough to see. It's super far away from the sun. I forget the number of billions of miles, even though that is something I've known in the past. Boy, I'll look that up again and feel embarrassed I can't remember it right now. But it's just so far for light to reach. It's not that bright. in the
So
sky.
you'll probably know this. Of course, Pluto was degraded as a planet, but
It's
then
too popular. So Pluto's, what is a planet is a more rubbery definition than we might expect. We kind of want that to be nailed down. It's not. If one of the things you kind of have to have if you want to be a planet is a clear orbit around your star. So when the Earth travels its little course around the sun, there's kind of nothing in our way. We're sort of made out of all the stuff that was in our direct orbit. The Pluto, on the other hand, is out in the Kuiper Belt, which is full of all this stuff that just like didn't keep going. The solar system started. There are objects out there that have been largely unchanged for billions of years. They just
Kuiper
didn't-
means Daniel's comedy career. Keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
they just didn't finish, but they're in Pluto's orbit. So Pluto's got like an entourage that is in the same orbit around the sun with
really?
it, and that is enough to be like
not
planet
really.
status is like
You brought too
so
many
orbit.
people, we
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
let
we
you
can't
in.
let you in the
Yeah,
club.
exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
your own club is already outside
yeah.
the club.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's way more complex than we thought it would be, though. There's like convection happening. The surface is icy, but there's obviously heat coming from the core that's making stuff bubble underneath. It creates all these like hexagonal shapes that connect. Pluto's like all those distant planets. I mean, they're distant from us, right? This is our neighborhood. That is so
Yeah.
close by in
Yeah.
spacey terms.
Yeah.
But we didn't know Uranus was a looker. Uranus looks fucking good. If you thought Uranus, Saturn's our girl. Saturn's the one that's like, that's the king of the.
Yeah,
Uranus
no.
was just waiting.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So cool, rings toe to tip.
Yep.
We're starting to get better at taking cool pictures, and Pluto's also just like.
And what about
Breaking all
Venus?
kinds of rules.
Overrated?
She's
I
too
mean,
cloudy.
goddess of love. It's a little vicious. Venus is interesting, hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther away from the sun. It's just wearing too much atmosphere. It's gassy business. It's just hot. The first craft to go to Venus were designed for a splash landing. We were like sci-fi sure that it was like hot, warm Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
We're like gonna be like tropical. We got to be ready. There's gonna be cool bugs and snakes.
She's gonna wear
There's gonna
a
be an
bathing
ocean.
suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
The
She's-
planet.
Yep. Yeah. the detritus of I mean, it is kind of the origins of Venus and Aphrodite. I don't know if that's how you want to be made as a planet. Glob of God come hits ocean becomes planet, but no, it was not ready for a splash landing. Those craft lasted like minutes.
They were like the acid like ate them, right?
they
Yeah.
just were instantly corroded and
Yeah.
burned.
And Dr. Gill.
Love, right? Looks gorgeous. You get there and you're not sure you should have come. You know?
Right? It's exactly like life. But Dr. Gill, I wanted to know if I wore like tinfoil antenna, would I have a better chance of really connecting with an alien?
I mean, you will have less of a chance connecting with other people, and that really clears the way.
Okay.
That it does open up other channels. Yeah.
What if I said it like, tinfoil antennae?
Yes.
Yeah.
The antenna. Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Like the dumb and yet I know that
brilliant.
word. might
No,
be
I feel
that.
like that used to be like that.
I'm kidding, by the way. I don't really think
The
that.
way you said antennae was how gay men accidentally outed themselves. And all that. Do you know what I mean? If you've ever pronounced it antennae, people looked at your wife and desperate.
That's so right.
Or you just have that peculiar, which is one of my favorite. And I go to the church of Angelica Houston, but she has a peculiar way. She grew up. What's the place in Ireland?
Kilkenny?
I don't know. Like what's a landscape?
Galway.
We grew up in the
Dover?
hills, some shit like that. But she grew up there in the Groves or something like that. In the Danes or what is that a place? Anyway, the bitch has an accent.
Sure.
And she says things like, "How have you been?"
Love it.
Be right. Have you?
I thought she was from London. Grew up in.
Well, she had a fucking house somewhere in the Irish countryside.
I had no idea.
A long time ago, but she says things like Renaissance.
Love it.
Right? And I'm like, that
Oh my
is-
God. On Murder, She Wrote, if you're a Murder, She Wrote watcher like I am, a little drinking game for yourself is every time she says restaurant.
I'll say this. Lucille Ball.
Wow.
Yeah,
defiantly-
Angela has a little restaurant thing
Restaurant.
going on. She's not going to give a hard consonant anywhere in that word.
Lucille
Restaurant.
Ball
They're
will
all
say
very
She
maid.
started as a French maid in a movie which was.
Oh no! Oh, I know. I don't remember.
Angela Lansbury
Angela Lansbury.
was a French maid in.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't either. I don't either.
See, we're hearing mind-blowing facts about the universe, and then we're getting zero information.
I know. I'm
wanna
bringing
know-
it down.
I am honestly more intrigued about the film debut of Angela Lansbury. Wasn't she like 19?
I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no, she was beautiful, but the
Oh
distance.
my God.
She might not have been French either.
What,
But she was
the-
definitely a maid and a
The number of bazillion miles that Pluto is away from us that you couldn't remember is the exact amount of
billion or
distance
something.
between Angela Lansbury's eyes. May she rest in peace.
Oh, wait a
That's why. Are you kidding me? That's why she's such an easy shot in The Manchurian Candidate.
Oh,
Are
you're
you kidding
so
me?
funny.
Easy target.
I mean,
but she was gorgeous when she was.
Yeah.
That's a mean thing to say, but when
no, she has
like,
that aristocratic face.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
it's that.
it's not fancy, and if it's coming from the stump, but when
Yeah.
it's from a family tree, then it's just fine.
It's very Clinton-esque, though. Do you know what I mean? Like
is a little
Hillary
bit.
sort of
Then
has
your eyes.
that. Like,
My eyes are pretty far apart too.
No, you
There's
got
something
great.
about that blue blood just pushes them farther and
Yeah,
farther
that
apart.
bloodhound blue. I also owning a house on like a large land expanse is a fantasy of mine.
Oh, do you want to talk? Do you want?
I want to talk
reality?
mineral rights.
I
Let's
think
talk
we're gonna
about
come out. And can we? Do you think we could come out? Me and
Come do an
Daniel and
episode.
tape. Yeah, and we could. We could tape. Of
course.
Oh, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And have it the actual.
I had a friend in Austin, Texas, who owned his house, and my favorite thing it was like, and he was a prepper, and I'm sure, and he was old school conspiracy theorist.
So we have found, and this, sorry, go right back,
No,
but
please.
yes, those are our neighbors. Your politics, should you follow them far enough, will lead you to the same place.
Yes.
Left or right, if you
Yes.
go hard and far enough, you will both be on fenced compounds in the desert, eyeing one another warily.
Yeah, it's
Damn.
that's the best way I've ever heard it
Yes.
pronounced. Yeah.
It's called the Horseshoe Theory, and
I love it.
there are
Damn.
horseshoes on all our property.
The Horseshoe Theory is the name of your next special.
Oh my God, nailed it.
So you
God
were
damn.
saying
That's how you
have
can
a prepper
find
friend.
someone with like a MAGA flag and a rainbow flag being
Right next to each other.
right?
Howdy, neighbor.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah.
Howdy,
Love
neighbor.
that, the Horseshoe Theory.
And so that's what I was gonna say. I was like we were not even political friends, but it was like one of those where, yeah, honestly, he could have gone to either end of the horseshoe and wound up there. But it was after we were having sort of a similar conversation, just about getting away, getting out, owning property, and just like being on your own. He goes, "Can you keep a secret?" And I was like, "Of course I can." So he moved his television, and then he rolled the rug up that was under it and showed me where he had been illegally mining under his own
Oh my
house.
God. That's funny.
Yes, where there was a full-on room with a TV and like lamplight and all that.
So
shit.
he actually found like gold or something, or
No,
oil, or
he
what?
had a man cave or whatever the f- you want to call it, like a
mining. I thought you meant like he was actually found like.
no, he with
found
a fucking spoon was like digging a shelter.
Oh, I see, I
What
see.
do you call it? A safe room? What do you call
Yeah,
that
like
shit?
a bomb shelter type
Yeah,
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Wow.
And honestly, I've never been more envious in my life. I was like, I want to be able to move some furniture aside and have like
Secret room.
prep.
Yeah.
But when you're in the country and like the end of the world happens, you just kind of stay, right? You don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
Because the end of the world doesn't come that far, does it?
you
Where
went to
people
where
have
the
no
world
money.
ended.
Yeah.
The world hasn't started yet,
It's
so
like,
I guess
It's only if you have things to give up.
It's like, it's wherever 5G.
I have 5 acres with a zip code. I still get UPS, Amazon, deliveries. I still have a
on
mailbox.
the grid.
Like I'm
okay.
6 minutes away from a Stater Brothers. Like I am not like ready for it all to end.
Yeah.
And I don't fancy that I'm so important that I live in the era where everything truly will actually fall apart. But part of what COVID changed for me is just like I don't have the same level of comfort with kind of the safety net, for lack of a better
my
term,
God.
that are like that we have around it. I just don't. Feeling safe is such a big umbrella term, but like I don't feel like there's as much to depend on as I'm traveling around. And it's like the little things, right? It's like take it from what it feels like to get on an airplane to like what it feels like to leave right? You get on an airplane, you're walking by people in minimum wage, terrible jobs. My dog's upset about this. I know, Mange. Are you also feeling this pain?
But you're nailing
Nobody's
it.
happy to be there. You're like shoved in deeply uncomfortably.
Yeah.
You get out with your deep vein thrombosis. You're in another airport where everybody's miserable to be there. You get in a car that nobody wants to be driving you in. You go to a hotel, nobody wants to be checking you in there. You eat at a Red Robin, you know you're going to get food poisoning from. And then like it's strained. It's the system we have is strained socially and realistically, and I
Right.
just was feeling like raw about it. And being poor in LA fucking sucks.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a great place to be poor, and it's the worst place to be poor. And I delivered food here. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't work. It
To,
didn't
like,
work.
mansions.
Like,
Yeah.
so
2 mansions.
literally with people I had pitch meetings with.
Oh,
I'd gone back to
'Cause
studios
that's the
I had
nightmare.
auditioned in with food.
No.
I'd Lyft drove Comedy Central producers.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
And that's that is not to like, but that
This is an old
the
bit.
nightmare.
I
yeah.
drove by a billboard for the first show I work on, and I couldn't stop to take a picture because I had hot food in the car.
Yeah.
The joke on stage is a Lyft ride because that's the better joke, but the reality is like somebody's ramen was stinking up my Honda Fit, and I couldn't stop to take a picture, like because
couldn't
this
get-
$3 tip might get reduced or
Yes.
whatever. Just the like,
But-
the you can live the dream, but you are wide awake the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
And I can tell you
that's
that's true for homesteading too. And I'm not a homesteader. That's a big term. I
You
have
have
5
a
acres.
fucking
But,
bandana on.
how do you feel about chores?
You know, I love. If
guys-
I'm not told to do it, I can nail a fucking list of them.
Because I hauled about a half ton of lumber before I came here this morning.
Wow,
I
yeah.
also used some deck screws to get a 4x4 onto a concrete post
Mm-hmm.
because I really want a new mailbox put up. I
Yeah.
used a truck to pull down a shed.
Mm.
There's the chores are.
endless.
Yes, it's endless.
I don't even dust.
I like chores because I like an honest night's sleep. Like I
Oh,
can,
God,
you know
I
what I
sleep
mean?
so hard.
Like that.
I am
shit.
never bored.
I'm into that. Yeah.
I have a purpose. I'm never bored. I work really hard. I learn things. I feel really satisfied, and I miss stand up every day.
But you nailed something.
Stand up is easy compared to what you're doing.
Before we took a break, you touched on something that I thought was really interesting, and it was like the feeling of COVID taught you like necessarily the feeling of security. My whole thing that really did my brain for a loop was I was like, oh, I sort of thought when the shit hit the fan, there would be some element of like, we'll all get through this.
No.
And when I realized it was,
Agreed.
couldn't have been more opposite of like, not only every man for himself, but every man for himself. Lose your brains first, and then we all make our own radical decision. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, well, I don't really know how to move forward in a world where things are getting worse.
Right.
And that reliability is shot.
Right.
Which is, to me, that's why you get rural and you just start like growing shit.
Yeah, that was definitely like part of the plan, like let's leave the city and get more in touch with the land, and like the general like social consensus is like, yeah, right, city mouse, like
Yeah.
you can't you don't know what you're doing, and
Yeah.
that's true. Like we don't know what we're doing. Like, am I on a sustainable farm yet? No. Everything I planted fucking died. Like that's what I did hear about a garden is first year stalls, second year crawls, third year sprawls. And I think that's a pretty good like rule of thumb for your knowledge and development in pretty much anything. So yes, we're getting better at being sort of less reliant on the systems that feel more fragile around us. But no, we're not fucking farmers. We're a million miles away from doing that. We're at 3,000 feet in the high desert.
Right.
Like, I don't know, you know.
My end times like plan now
Yes.
is I'm just going to become a fortune teller,
Brilliant.
which segues into candle making.
Perfect. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Done.
Just right.
Right.
I mean, my plan is a fence and a well, and I've got both of those. So
I'm gonna tie a rope to the fence and jump in the well. That's my plan too. That's my fucking plan.
I'm tipping my toe into the jewelry making phase of my career.
perfect. Yeah.
Because it's the trade
Yes.
of it all.
I did make T-shirts. I learned how to screen print in the last few years.
Steph Tolev, correct?
Yeah,
And you
yeah. I
Steph
did a bunch of teas for Steph and a few other folks. I mean, the Astro Tour job kind of hotted up a bit, and when I say we remodeled our house, like I put in new floors, I put in new cabinets, I put in new baseboards, and when I say I mean I. I did. So I painted, I hung drywall, I like replaced the shower, replaced vanities, replaced kitchen sinks, replaced washer dryers, replaced rotted subfloor, replaced foundation. Like
That's so amazing.
It is though,
vapor
and
barrier and
empowering.
insulation. It is all of those things, and it's gross and hard, and you know.
But
Like, so when something goes wrong, there's no one to blame.
And there's no.
I don't know how I would do that. I've always had a landlord.
I mean, part of rural living, part of why you DIY is like, who the fuck are you going to call? Like, how many people do you think there's not a plumber for every situation? There just isn't. Like, you know, there's not a market for it, and there's not the resources. And in the Joshua Tree area in particular, it is a really popular area for vacation homes and for rental properties. So if an investor has 5 or 6 properties in the area, why would a contractor who's good work with anyone else? That one person has projects for them for a whole
All the
career.
time, yeah.
Everybody good at their job is working.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of people to call to come replace your outlets. So I
Caitlin,
replaced my outlets.
Can you take the sink out while you're here?
I
no problem.
Garrett put it in, and he's like, "No, I'm not gonna even deal with that ever again."
I sanded and I restained a dresser.
Well done.
And I thought, I was like, who wants me to build a fucking rocket? Look
Yeah.
how good I am. And that was all it took. And I used fucking sandpaper too. I didn't even use like or any of that
well,
bullshit.
those are fun.
But
Yeah.
I felt like I could build you a house the next day, which is, I guess, how people ignorantly start. I don't know. It's trial and error when you're fucking with your floors, though.
Everything feels less mysterious. Like I used to sit on a toilet and go like, I wonder what's happening under here.
Where's it go?
And now I know exactly what's fucking happening under there.
yeah.
I had to return a toilet to Home Depot. That's how deep in the life I am.
Wow.
Because the tank didn't match the base. It was like previously. I got
Same.
like a, you know what I
Same.
mean? I had stripes on the bottom, plaid on top in a toilet form, so I had to take it back.
Dookie. That's a no-no.
Bring it back to Home Depot and open the box. Explain. I swear I didn't crap in this toilet. I couldn't even put it together if I wanted to.
Whenever I see a toilet,
It's a long drive back to Home Depot, by the way.
Whenever I see a toilet on the side of the road,
Yes.
you know what I mean? I just want to, I curl up next to it, I go, tell me all your stories.
I wanna know everything.
Tell me everything. Can we
don't
talk
know.
about how
Yeah.
amazing it is to know your way around Home Depot?
Oh, I know my Home Depot like the back of my, like the Yucca
I
Valley
love
Home
Home
Depot.
Depot.
I can zero in on whatever. You need a drywall, you need a molly bolt? Let's go.
What is a is that
A molly bolt's how one of the good ways to hang stuff on drywall.
it soun's like ecstasy.
I
What
was
it
just
called?
reading an article about molly bolts and drywall toggles this morning.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I've had to check out.
What?
I heard something that sounded like Molly.
I heard Molly Ball too. That's where I went. "Rrr."
Molly
Yeah.
bolts are a way to screw into drywall and hold objects that are heavier than a standard screw can accommodate.
Yeah. I see. I'm into that though.
Yeah,
It's
you
the-
get into
I'd
that.
like to learn that.
I have such firm opinions about screws now.
Yeah.
Like really hard-held beliefs that did not exist.
Can you?
So if you
previously.
took something off, if you took a painting or anything off your wall, there
Yeah.
aren't 5 holes under it, like a guy had done.
No, I've definitely made my fair share of,
Okay.
oops, that's in the wrong place, but it's the right screw in the wrong place.
See?
So
okay.
I have evolved.
There's a lot about my life where ignorance is true bliss.
Sure.
And as I say all the time, one of my biggest fears is structural failure.
Oh, uh-huh.
Of any interpretation.
Yeah.
But one of them is I don't want, it's like the Wizard of Oz and all that kind of thing. I don't want to know how things are built. built, because the minute I see
Yeah.
something wonky, I'm gonna run. Like I don't,
Sure.
I don't want to know the spine of a building.
I'm gonna say the opposite is true. Once you actually understand the weight limit of like, 2x8, you can look at, like, I understand why my house stays up on joists spaced 16 inches apart. I understand why the studs in my wall work at their spacing. I understand how my house is standing up.
Yeah.
I get how weight is distributed. Like, I have a manufactured home sitting on a concrete block, so I can crawl on concrete blocks. I can crawl all the way under it, so I can actually work on and level the joists and stuff, which I have done. I get it now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a mystery to me where the poo goes when I flush. Like, I know where the tube heads, and I can fix it if I need to.
Oh my God. Well, a very important thing I want everybody to know really fast is if you're buying a home, or even if you're going to rent in a home, particularly if it is a 2-story house or anything, is that you need to stand in the social areas, kitchen, living room, and you need to have that person go in
crap.
flush each toilet.
Yeah, make sure you can't hear that.
Hear it.
Yeah.
Because they don't live there anymore, but my poor parents, I could not, it broke my heart every time. Christmas,
Oh yeah,
Thanksgiving.
well that's how ours is downstairs.
You're just
Flush,
sitting
flush,
there
flush.
having a lovely family moment, and someone's like, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." And then you hear, the flush, and then the fucking shit go, and you just watch it cross through the. You know what I mean? It's like you can basically see it. Vital mistake.
It's a good thing to know
You
about
need-
the bones of your home.
Yeah.
I know the load. If a wall is load bearing. I
Yeah.
don't even know if it means wood or the wall. If a beam is load bearing.
I mean, I can spot
It's
a man
holding
that's
up
load
things
bearing.
on.
Right.
It's holding up the structure.
So a beam, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't consider myself a load-bearing person because I'm not that important. Like I could go anytime. I like to say, like it doesn't make any damn difference.
I mean, I was more
False.
load bearing in my 20s and 30s, but I just can't bottom anymore at this
I'm
age.
42. I am a 42-year-old lesbian. I just got my Subaru Forester. I've never borne more load. I'm at my full load-bearing potential right now.
See, okay, here's the thing.
That's
Can we
so
talk?
funny.
Before, I'm
got a
like
Subaru?
right in the sweet spot when I just got a Subaru before I need a knee scooter. These are the prime years
Yeah.
of a middle-aged lesbian's life.
That's so funny.
Are there?
That's like getting a license to be a lesbian. Here's your
The knee
Subaru.
scooter?
Here's
Yeah.
the knee scooters. Listen,
That's graduated. That's your 25-year anniversary.
it's like my mother's menopause just head butted my puberty, right? We were just
perfect
all of
timing.
that.
Yeah.
And right when like my friends were driving and would come over to the house, maybe unexpected.
Sure.
Was also had a head-on collision with the era where my dad had a sun hat, knee pads, and the knee scooter, and he would
Sick.
just be with some shovels gardening when all your new popular friends are coming over.
UV's not touching your face, bitch.
No, and he looked like fucking Linda Evangelista with a scarf wrapped Anna hat, for crying out loud. But working with your hands is so satisfying.
It really is.
Right.
And learning that stuff. I did not know how to do any of that. You can
Yeah.
learn. You can learn how to do stuff. That's been the last few years for like, what I can't even touch for what I miss about stand up. I've gained a ton. Like, you can learn stuff.
Yeah.
I
I like to garden at night.
Cool. It's full moon right now. Go gardening.
Yeah, because Garrett, because I'm not awake during the day, and Garrett likes to drive by if I'm in my pajamas or whatever I'm out doing in the middle of the night, and he'll say, "Is there anyone I can call?"
It's true though. I got what time? I'm gonna check
Do
right
your
now.
children know where you are?
I got a 2 a.m. email from you last
I
night,
know.
which is typical.
I texted
Which
you at
is
10:30 when I left, and as soon as I did it, I was like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
She's not up."
That was
so rude,
What am
Caitlin.
I? I realize
Jesus.
I'm California has a new state, or one of many state animals, which is a pallid bat,
Okay.
which is a white bat.
Oh,
And that's
Cool.
me. That's a little white bat. I think so.
you think you look like a bat?
Yeah, I look like a bat. It's very cute. It's got a little piggy face. I think it's adorable, but I wouldn't say I'm that cute. But a pallid bat, it's a white bat.
I look
and
like
it
a
still
horse.
is
I
nocturnal.
full on look like
No,
a
you
horse.
don't.
Yeah, I
Oh,
do.
come
I had a
on,
shirt
quit
that said "Save America's Horses" with a picture of a horse
Beautiful.
on it. But you couldn't tell the difference. You'd be like, you couldn't. It was the same. But we all look like an animal. I'd rather look like
I
Monty.
know that I look in the rodent category. I'm already, I got like hamster meets rat face pushed together a little
You
bit.
guys are nuts.
You-
well,
you
wait till you see the pallid bat.
It was a
I
really
guess
cute
I don't
picture.
look exactly like it, but but I have the same characteristics.
You have the same vocal range.
Yeah, pale. We can't get any color no matter what we do. No matter how much blood we suck, we can't. No.
But
no,
I was envious. So I've been to Alaska. My friend always worked up there, and that was like a place to disappear and things like that. But you see, and it was in the summer still, or the end. So it wasn't perpetual sunlight. The sun does set for a minute, and then it comes right back up.
Yep.
But even in that, whatever kind of dusk twilight thing, you see shooting stars all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they also had no indoor anything, so you had to take a piss and shit outside.
Yeah.
So at all those moments, which was somewhat be embarrassing, you're still seeing this like crazy stellar display.
That's happening all the time. There's always stuff smacking into our atmosphere. It's happening all the time.
What was the thing Elon Musk committed to? He wanted to have so many what's his thing? Starlink?
Is that his thing? I see the launches. But it's crazy.
Committed to having some insane number, like 5,000, 10,000. It was somewhere in the thousands of satellites he wants to put up there.
There are thousands of satellites up there, and there are hundreds of pieces of space junk, and it will only be so long until we have millions of pieces of space junk and no satellites.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. The most optimistic thing I can say about space junk is that the people who are going to fix that are studying to do so right now, and they're going to have crazy cool careers.
Yeah.
It's a problem we made. We can fix that problem. But yeah, Elon throwing up thousands of satellites for like a communication network that might work, I guess, is a lot.
I like the thought of that too, because I like to always like look at junkyards and thrift and stuff. So I'd like to look for junk in space.
So it's there. Some of the first satellites are still out there, and they look like mod furniture from the 50s.
Yeah.
They're just like silver balls with sticks coming out of them. So cool.
My favorite is
right?
the Voyager crafts,
Yeah.
which are still going.
That's the only thing that we've made that left our solar system.
Yeah, that actually left. But they put the sounds of Earth on a record.
Yeah.
It's like, I forget what it's actually made of.
It's gold. So it's the gold. It's the golden record because gold has a very slow rate of decay. So if Voyager takes a really long time to get through space, the record will still be fine. And there is a cool illustration. There's a little stylus. Like a record, though charmingly dated, is a great method for sending out. All you got to do is spin it with a needle on it.
Right.
And if you are something that can hear, the concept of spinning is universal to space. So that helps. Everywhere it's not a vacuum, there's sound. So we're on a good track. Had we done it in the 90s and sent a CD, I'm not sure it would have translated. But there is something kind of beautifully practical about a record. But yeah, the Golden Record has a bunch of sound. You can listen to it. It's a really good compilation album. Yeah. It's both on YouTube and I want to say Spotify, the whole Golden Record. No. And there's music from all over. There's all kinds of things from all over the world.
Yes.
It is a good listen.
I'm enamored with that. What's your favorite planet?
I love Voyager. My favorite planet, Jupiter.
Why?
Jupiter so the thing to Google for better scientific information than I will yell about right now is the grand tack theory. But Jupiter formed first, closest to the sun, ate up a bunch of sun leftovers. That's what planets are made of, star leftovers, which was more sciencey than that. It's not. Jupiter eating up a bunch of the food in this neighborhood is part of why the Earth is the size it is, and the Earth's size super helps us out. It helps biology thrive here. When we look at other stars with other planets, almost every star has planets, we see other rocky worlds, but they're big. Too big to host life as we know it for a bunch of complex reasons. So the Earth being the size it is super helps us out, and Jupiter influenced the size we wound up being just by gobbling up a bunch of material here. Jupiter moved after Saturn's formation, less sciencey than the actual explanation, but that's kind of the timeline. Saturn formed just past the ice line. It got big fast, and it pulled Jupiter through the inner worlds to where it sits now. So Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars were all influenced by that movement. But what models say about what happened to Earth is crazy. So as Jupiter moved, I know it's exciting, Major. It off-gassed. A bunch of stuff came off of Jupiter. One thing that came off in abundance was water vapor. Earth passed through that vapor. We drink it. We couldn't understand how we got liquid water until we modeled that out. Yeah. So Jupiter gave us water. It's kind of marauding through this corner of space, messed up the orbit of another planet called Theia.
Yes.
Theia wound up coming right toward the Earth, collided with the Earth.
As someone explained it as though they collide, but they more move through each other.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a sidelong collision.
Yeah.
So it hit on the side, and that was enough of an impact because Theia was 1/10 the size of the Earth. Theia just got obliterated, and about a third of the Earth came rippling off, just was shorn off. But in space, right, debris doesn't go flying away. Gravity keeps it there and cleans it up into a moon. So it was, I know, Major, it's very exciting. It was the movement of Jupiter that gave us water and the moon. And those two things are pretty key to our biology. Plus, Jupiter has a ton of moons, like 87.
Yeah.
A lot of those are so Ganymede, Callisto, Io, and Europa are the four really close to Jupiter.
Which one has
that
the
we can
ocean?
see through? Europa has the ocean. Io has the volcanoes.
Okay.
So we can see those through telescopes, but there are a bunch of other ones that are space potatoes. They're not even rounded out, and they're just stuff that was flying by that got caught in Jupiter's gravity.
Yeah.
But when Jupiter misses, objects come moving in toward the inner worlds and can collide with us.
Yes.
It sucks. Ask the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So Jupiter manages to corral these objects that could change the destiny of planets in the inner worlds just with its gravity. So it's got strong Big Brother energy to me. It's it gave us a little leg up with all that water, and it stops little bullies from messing with us. So there's kind of no Earth as we know it without Jupiter. If you want to feel connected to space, I feel or connected to something bigger, I feel storylines like that really do the trick for me. And learning that about the Grand Tack scientifically scratches an itch. I think it's very cool. But then I remember the mythiness, right? The myth of how humans came to life to the Greeks. Zeus asked Prometheus to make him some little dollies that came to life. Prometheus does, make some cool figures. Prometheus says to Zeus, cool, if you want him to dance and boogie, we need some of your life essence. We need to bring them to life with you. We're going to bring them to life with spit. With water from Zeus. Water from Jupiter brought humans to life. Thousands of years later, whatever the time, we figure out it was water from Jupiter that brought us to life. The myth was right.
And they already knew it.
That one folded my brain a little
That's
bit.
An alien.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That was somebody got a message. Somebody got a note.
Yes.
And Galileo looked at Jupiter and saw those four moons and realized, wait, that thing's close and like us. And the stars are different and far away.
Can we talk about when we nuked Jupiter? Because it was it Cassini spacecraft that it was observing the moon.
Sorry, that was me hitting the microphone. If you just heard my chest.
But
so Cassini was around Saturn,
right?
And Juno was around Jupiter. Yeah.
Okay, but it was the spacecraft was observing one of the moons.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't want to nuke the moon with the plutonium rods.
Right.
So they opted to let it die.
Go to the body of the planet.
Right.
Yeah, if we had so we didn't know that we would encounter a world like Europa when we sent Juno out to Jupiter. And should there be anything on Europa that we'd want to discover later, we would egg on our face, right, if we land a craft that has life from Earth on it, and then we go back and discover those, or, so the safest thing to do for the craft to preserve what could be there on Europa was to send it into Jupiter, which, as we measure life, it can't exist there. So,
okay, but really fast, as we measure life.
So if we're looking for life, we got to look for what we can measure.
But
what we measure is biology.
Okay, but this is so theoretical, hypothetical, but as we measure life, which I think is important, how do we not know that there's not a gas ghost?
Why not? I actually fully, if your planet doesn't have a ton of gravity, why not be smart clouds?
Right?
If your planet has too much gravity, why would you have limbs? Why wouldn't you just be a smart puddle? There are all kinds of forms life could take. But we can't look for the fiction.
Right.
We believe it. I believe it's there. I think scientists who are excited about space don't limit the idea of what life could be to just biology.
Right.
But we have to look for what we can observe and measure, and we don't know if there's alive clouds or puddles. We know that if you put water with a bunch of complex stuff in it, something that breathes air and is made of carbon might pop out.
One of the most inspiring but sometimes disappointing things is Judge Judy just wants the cold hard facts. She doesn't want the fantasy. She doesn't need the backstory.
No, ma'am.
She just really needs to know what happened, when, and why. Not even the why. But I do find that because it's I love the universe so much, but I also am at the end of Dark Crystal where they merge and they are just these vapors. I'm that also makes sense.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Sure.
I
feel like Star Trek does a pretty good job of that, and I do dig the Trek. I'm a Trekkie. Yeah, I'm a Next Generation girl. Picard's my captain.
Yeah. I want to get. That's the next thing I want to get into in life.
Oh man,
is Star Trek.
It's so warm. It's a really generous fanhood. It feels good. It's a warm embrace.
Have you seen Things to Come?
Ooh, I haven't.
Ancient old movie.
Yeah.
It's from the 30s.
Yeah.
We gotta watch it.
Okay.
It's so fun, and of course it's in the future, which is 2036.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful, and it kind of shows it's war and space travel and all this stuff. But yeah, it's H.G. Wells.
Bad,
so it's
50s, 60s bad sci-fi is my favorite.
So
but rolling back the clock to good sci-fi, I'm on board.
But it's legit from the 30s. I want to say it's an early film because I think H.G. Wells was still alive to work on the script or something like that. I might be wrong about that part, but no, it's really it tries to tell how you go at the whole story, you end up right back at the beginning.
Yes.
Such as like
that's that's creation of the stars, right? Stars are made of gas, crushed by gravity. Like gravity pushes so hard on the gas it pushes atoms of gas together. Atoms fuse, atomic fusion, that releases a proton. We experience that as light and heat. But what's left behind is new helium, or two hydrogen atoms. Smash them, release a proton, you get helium.
Yeah.
Stars make elements. They run all the way up the periodic table. It gets sloppy and cool from there. But our ingredients are made in star. We're truly made of star stuff. So stars create the stuff, but they don't live forever. So they cook up a bunch of cool stuff. They collapse or explode or whichever way they're going to go. If they're not so big they become a black hole, they'll leave behind a cool nebula. They'll leave behind all the stuff they created.
Yeah.
That dissipates, cools, and is formed into the next generation of stars and planets. So space keeps getting more complex in this age of stars because stars create the complexity. It's a long timeline. The age of stars isn't permanent. It's not the inherent state of the universe. We're kind of in a fireworks show that we get to see a cool part of. But
is there a moment in the life of a star, and I think it's in the death, where there's a huge expansion and explosion, but then doesn't it shrink back down really small for like a millisecond?
Is that the red star? Or what is it called?
But I mean small.
Yes to all of those things. Different red stars are almost done. The next they've expanded. That's why they look red. The same amount of fusion is occurring, but it's a larger area to make hot. Blue stars are hot like the flame on your stove. Red stars are literally cooler like the flame on a candle. So if a star is big and red, it used to be smaller and blue. It just has the same amount of fusion occurring in a larger star. The next thing that star will do, if it's a big one like Betelgeuse and Orion, if you look east and it's after sunset right now, you'll definitely see it kind of wherever you are. Betelgeuse is a honker.
You have to say it one more time, Betelgeuse.
Right, yeah. So then it'll appear in your sky. But that's the next thing that star's going to do is go supernova. If you're large enough as a star, when you collapse, there is a corresponding explosion. Yeah. Because the collapse is so intense, it just kabooms out. Wow. Stars smaller than that don't go out with such a bang, but they do leave a cloud behind, and we can see those clouds. Like the Ring Nebula, the Dumbbell Nebula. These
Tara
are all,
Reid.
Yeah. These are all clouds left behind by stars. If a star is really big, like 10 times the size of our sun or more, when it's done being a star, it doesn't explode. It collapses so entirely all its mass collapses down to a point finer than an atom. I don't understand black holes, but luckily nobody does.
So have you seen?
Oh, you know what, Daniel?
Oh, sorry.
I think we have to wrap up because I want to find out, Caitlin, where can people see your stand up from before?
Oh, stand up
and also the stuff you're doing now.
Stand up from before is still available everywhere online. Look for the album Major, named after my beautiful dog. She's on the cover. I still love it. Give a listen whenever you like. And if you're in the Joshua Tree area, come check out a tour with Skywatcher. 2 telescopes, 2 hours, Milky Way, lots of cool stuff.
And the brilliant Caitlin Gill.
Showing you.
And astrophysical Dr. Caitlin Gill.
Yeah. Exactly.
Amazing to have you. Thank you so much.
It truly
Dr.
was
Gill.
just such a pleasure to see you guys.
I
miss you both so much. Thanks for dragging me out of the desert. Yeah, come do an episode.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Please.
In the stars.
We will.
I'm finally it's just getting ready to invite people to. I had to pull out the piss floors. I had to get rid of the gross cabinets. Now the terror sheds are coming down, and it's going to be
listen, the piss floors are coming back.
Yeah,
so
we are.
Break out the tarp. Thank you, Caitlin Gill.
Thank you both.
Yay. That was great.
Thanks so much.
Kisses.